people research my name or when I'm getting introduced like I am right now, things you hear about me are Olympic bronze medalist, 3-time Olympian, former world champion, or I should say co-world champion, 6-time Canadian record holder, on and on and on. So people always say to me, Brent, you must have been a great athlete when you were little. And honestly, they couldn't be further from the truth. I was not born a champion. Nobody is. So, how did I go from that, little speedos, to that? I failed swimming lessons. And in fact, I was so bad, I failed swimming lessons twice. One of my very first swimmings, because I guess my parents just didn't really care that I failed swimming lessons, they're like, you know, we're going to put them on the team anyways. So I joined the local team in my hometown, the Mission Marlins. And actually, it might have actually been just after this picture was taken, because I know for a fact it was that year in that pool. Picture this. 6 lanes, 6 swimmers. Referee blows his whistle, 6 swimmers step up onto the starting block. Starter says, take your marks, the gun goes, 6 swimmers dive in, 5 swimmers come up. You see, I love to swim. I haven't quite figured out this whole racing thing yet though, because there are these fish painted on the bottom of the pool. They're bright colors, some spotted, some striped. I was far more interested in the fish on the bottom of the pool than I was in the actual race. So there I am, swimming around back and forth, checking them out. I pop up, then I just hear somebody scream. I think it might have been my dad, but honestly, I don't know. Just scream, go Brent, go. And I literally stood up, you know, my nose above the surface, nodded, and I swam, and then I got disqualified, which back then, disqualified also meant DQ. So they give you a coupon to go to Dairy Queen, and you feel really good about yourself. I tried a lot of other sports as well. I tried baseball, and I didn't want to be the kid that screwed it up for the rest of the team. So I would sit way out in the outfield as far away as I could, hoping that nobody was going to hit the ball to me. And I'd sit cross-legged on the grass, I'd pull it out by the roots, and I'd make a big pile on my pants, and see how big I could get it. And literally every inning, I would walk back out there like this, try to find my pile, sit back down, pick it up, put it back in my pants, and do that again. But this one time, the ball actually came to me. And I stood up, picked it up, and somebody screamed, throw the ball home. So I threw the ball as hard as I could in the wrong direction, because in that moment of panic, I thought he meant throw it towards my home. So, which was in the opposite direction over the fence. Soccer, my very first game, I actually tried to score on our own net because the coach had failed to mention when I go from practice to the game, you're no longer shooting against your own goalie. In basketball, I tried basketball as well. One year in elementary school, we were the Albert McMahon Astros. Our motto was Ad Astra. Something that slogan actually came back to me later on in my career, shoot for the stars. But it didn't really work out that well in basketball. I scored 1 basket in the entire year, and it was against our own girls team in an exhibition game. So obviously, people weren't predicting that I was going to be the kid from small town Mission, BC, who's going to become the first Canadian in history to win an Olympic medal, become world champion in the biggest swimming event, the 100-meter freestyle. People were kind of like, oh, Brent, he's kind of goofy, he doesn't pay attention very well. You have to explain things in absolute perfect detail because he'll probably misinterpret it. All right? That was me. In fact, I actually developed, or rather, I was actually born with a slight hearing disability where I have too many neurons firing, so I get a lot of brain fatigue. And when you're swimming, when you're standing on the starting blocks, I was notorious for having one of the slowest starts. That also meant that when coaches were explaining sets to me, I would get in trouble a lot because they just thought I wasn't listening. Truth is, I just didn't know what it was we were doing, so I'd be swimming through practice, I'd be looking over the lane rows, trying to copy what everybody else was doing. And for 2 years in a row, I actually got an award that my coaches actually invented just for me. And it was called the I Don't Know Award. But something obviously had to change. Something had to take me from goofy little Brent, trouble paying attention, not hearing anything the coach is saying, screwing up all the time, to this guy over here. I started doing karate right around grade 7, and it wasn't so much that I was learning how to defend myself, because I was one of the tallest kids. Nobody was trying to fight me anyways, although I got bullied a lot for being one of the only kids in my class wearing Speedos. I didn't wear them to school. They just knew I wore them a lot at other times in the day. But something about my sensei, he really demanded that every single time we come to the dojo that we respect exactly why we're there. We had to go in with the intention of coming out of there better than we were yesterday. And so my coaches back at swimming, they would always ask us to write out our goals for the year. It would always be, write out your 5 goals, and they're always expecting you to write, I want to go, this fast, at this meet, win this medal. And I would always walk into practice and I would absolutely have no idea what my goals were. But something I took from that dojo, I took towards swimming. And finally when my coach sat me down, like, Brent, you're going to write down your 5 goals? I wrote down one thing. And that was, I'm going to start coming into the pool every day and do one thing that'll make me better than it was yesterday. Because it wasn't about winning medals. It wasn't about going to the Olympics. It wasn't success. It wasn't fame. I love to swim. And if you truly, truly love something, you gotta be willing to do everything you can, all the time. And sometimes it's just that one little detail, that one little thing that you can take care of. And that doesn't mean I had to go in and do the best time in practice. I didn't have to do one amazing set. Honestly, I could have just done one flip turn just a little bit differently than I was doing them before and just perfect that one little detail just a little bit more. So eventually I made the national team in 2002, and I ended up having a 10-year career uninterrupted on the Canadian team. I was undefeated in Canada in the 100-meter freestyle during the entire 10 years of that career. That career took me to 3 Olympics. Now you're thinking, going to the Olympics, that's the biggest stage of the world, it's what you wanted to be your entire life. How could it possibly go wrong? Honestly, the first Olympics was probably one of the worst experiences of my life. I did so bad in the pool. All the newspapers were writing on it. I'm talking about all the newspapers, like from the province to the National Post, all across the country were writing about how I was responsible for not getting a medal on our relay team, because that's just how bad I did. And I let my 3 teammates down. And I had to come back with that weighing heavily on my heart. And I had to go see my sports psychologist. I had to talk to my teammates, my coach, my family, my friends, at least the friends that actually cared. Times like that, you actually realize the kind of people that you need to be surrounding yourself with. And I surrounded myself with the best people. If you talk about nutritional value in your food, you gotta surround yourself with nutritional people. And so, I got back in the pool with more determination than ever. I don't want to be remembered as a swimmer that screwed it up for Canada. So over those next 4 years, I won 2 silver medals at the World Champs in 2005. I became the co-world champion in 2007. I go back to the Beijing Olympic Games. Now I'm no longer a rookie on the team. I'm a veteran. I'm going in there as the defending world champion from the year before. I'm in probably the best position I could be in. I had everything going for me. All the odds were in my favor. I didn't even make it to the final. I missed the final by 0.2 of a second. If you can imagine how fast that is, it was just one little detail right off the block. And it was actually, I was expecting to have a spot in that final. I wasn't determined to have a spot in the final. I was kind of acting as if I was already there. I'd already worked hard, I'd already earned it, so therefore everything's just going to work out. So I had to watch the final for the 100-meter freestyle, get swim, while I was watching it in the stands, and even the guy that got a bronze medal swam slower than the time I'd actually already posted earlier on in the meet. So knowing that I was good enough to have stood on that podium. So I come back, and once again, all the newspapers are writing about how Canada's best shot at a medal in the pool didn't win. Luckily, we had a teammate who medaled to kind of take the burden off me a little bit. But then the next 4 years come along. Now I'm going to the London Games, and during this time I'd been dealing with these chronic back spasms, which had been plaguing my training. I was one of the oldest guys in the pool now, and now suddenly the odds aren't really in my favor anymore. I'd actually been doing very well, quite, I should say, unexpectedly at my age. And 2 weeks before the games, we were at staging camp in Italy, and this is when I'm supposed to be in the most prime physical peak, getting ready to perform on the world stage again at the Olympic Games. And I am on the ground in my hotel room with a back spasm, screaming in pain. For 4 days, I couldn't walk. And I had this little voice in the back of my head saying, "You're probably not going to get to swim in the games. You might as well just retire." So one day I decided that I just needed to get back into the pool and just get myself back into the process. So while I was on the pool deck, my coach just looks at me and he goes, "What's wrong?" Because he could see it on my face. And I just told him, "I don't want to retire before the Olympics." And he looks at me and says, "Why don't you?" And something in my head snapped. I admit I lost it. My teammates were really scared of me for the rest of the afternoon. But the very next day, I got into the pool and ended up posting one of the fastest pre-competition training sets I'd ever done in my entire life. All because my coach didn't tell me exactly what I wanted to hear. He told me what I needed to hear. That little voice of self-doubt. He took it out of my head and threw it back in my face. And I just knew that was so incredibly negative that I just could not let that control me. I had to get over that somehow. And just by him doing that, it just flipped. And suddenly I was game ready. I got to the games, went through the heats, acted as if it was my very last race, got to the semifinals knowing that 4 years earlier this was as far as I ever got. Got to the final, woke up that morning, worst day of my life. My heart rate was over 120 just from a dream I was having about the day at 6:45 a.m. And to make it even worse, I had a sharp pain in my back where I felt like my rib was going to punch through. So I saw my chiropractor 3 times that day trying to get my rib to unjam. We were unsuccessful. But I just told myself, if you don't perform your absolute best, nobody is going to care that you had a bad back that day. The only thing they're going to care about is that you went out there and gave it absolutely everything you had. And for me personally, I would rather end up drowning, ending up on the bottom of the pool in a back spasm, knowing I'd given it everything I had, than play it safe and finish the race. So when I walked into the ready room, that's what I was thinking about. I'm going to go out there. This is my final chance. It's probably going to be my last time I'm ever swimming a 100-meter freestyle. I'm never going to have this opportunity again. You know what? In Beijing, the guy that won the bronze medal was older than everybody by 5 years. So me walking in, I was older than everybody by 5 years. So I knew I had a chance. I was also the only bald guy too. When I walk out onto the pool deck, I take my goggles out, and I actually realized I'd actually messed up the strap because there were new goggles and I'd re-threaded them, and I completely twisted them around, and I was afraid that suddenly that my goggles might actually fall off my head as soon as I dive into the pool, because without a cap to hold in place, they were basically exposed. This could easily happen. But I just told myself, if nobody cares about your back, they're sure not going to care about your goggles. And so I just got in, I put that all behind me, got on the starting block, and I had the absolute best start I'd ever had in my entire career. And I knew it right away. Usually at the 50-meter wall, I'm usually about 5th or 6th place. I was second, 1/100th behind the world record holder. Of course, I didn't know that. I can't see everybody else when your head is in the water. But I knew I was in the spot I needed to be in. I came up that wall, did my dolphin kicks, came up, refused to take that early breath because you're just going to get rocked by the incoming wave if you breathe too early. And with 25 years left to go, when all the pain is screaming through your body and your body is telling you, you need to stop doing this right now, you're probably killing yourself. or like it burns from your head to your toe, your entire body is, I just told myself, this is probably your last 100-meter freestyle ever, and immediately all that pain, all that fire took a little back seat. I was aware it was there, but it didn't matter anymore. The only thing that mattered was that I didn't give up. I kept pushing into the wall, and get my hand on that wall. I don't care if I break my fingers reaching for it, I gotta get my hand on that wall. And when I turned around, after touching the wall, I honestly thought I was in 8th place. But we don't have glasses on, and that scoreboard is at the other end of the pool, about 60 or 70 meters away. That 3 kind of looks like an 8. It's actually the same thing in 07 when I won gold. I thought it was a 7. So I kind of had this very brief moment where I kind of thought, and then I realized that I actually got a bronze medal. And honestly, I don't think any other color could have felt any better. Just the fact that I knew I was going to be able to stand on the podium. I did something in Canadian history that nobody else has ever done, and I did it on a day when I was the oldest person by 5 years. I had a bad back, my goggles were messed up, the odds were against me. I knew I had accomplished something incredible. One really cool thing that happened afterwards was when Michael Phelps comes up to me to congratulate me on my bronze medal, and I'm trying to stumble for words to say, congratulations on your 18 gold medals. Just understanding how other people knew how much that medal meant to me, that I'd apparently missed out on the opportunity 4 years earlier, or even 8 years earlier, and I'd finally done it when all the odds were against me. It doesn't matter how well you perform on your best days. It's how in the face of adversity, when every card is stacked against you, what are you going to do then? And so if I can go from that little guy failing swimming lessons, ending up on the bottom of the pool, checking out the brightly painted fish, through all that and become the only Canadian in history to win an Olympic medal in the 100-meter freestyle event, I can only leave you guys with one quote. Some people shoot for the stars, but personally, I don't like to set limits. Thank you.